Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fragments Oracle on this beautiful Monday, the beginning of the week. And I thought that it was very important to pull the cards for the week, as well as channel some messages. So let's get comfortable and breathe in the energy of today. Let's breathe in the energy of now. Because there is no other time like now. And let's ask Elijah, one of my guides, to pull some cards for you and for me, but mostly for you. Because for you and for me, but mostly for you. Because I can pull these cards anytime I wish. So Elijah, we want you to pull some cards for the audience. Okay. I want you to see that I have the deck. So I'm going to pull 3 cards. The first card is boundaries. This seems to be a card that keeps coming up in my readings. Sometimes I will get this card and I will put it down because I think my audience doesn't want to know boundaries again. But the reason that a card keeps coming up is because you still have not figured out how to set boundaries for yourself. As I've mentioned before, boundaries have nothing to do with anybody else. Let's put it this way. If you need to set a boundary for yourself to protect yourself, to open more of what needs to come in for you, sometimes it's important to set a clear boundary in love for yourself so that you have clarity. That's really what a boundary is. It's so that you can receive clarity. And the boundary could be very simply no. No is a complete sentence. And I know that you have all heard this. But how many times have you said no, and then you're up against a similar situation and you do it anyway? The clarity will not be there if you continue to do the same thing that you're wanting to say no to. And there are ways to say that are not hurtful. You can simply say that doesn't resonate with me. I would rather not at this time, perhaps in the future. Yes. You can simply say, no, I have a commitment. And that commitment can be to yourself, by the way. You don't have to have a commitment to go to the doctors, to go set up an appointment with somebody. That commitment can be to yourself. If you want the afternoon off and you don't want to do anything else, because you can take the time for yourself, and somebody asks you to do something, you can simply say, No, I have an appointment, but I'll take a rain check. You don't need to get into this long explanation. Nobody needs to know that. That's the clarity. And I'm speaking from experience because I'm a person that likes to tell everybody everything out of conditioning. I need to explain myself. I don't need to explain myself. You don't need to explain yourself. That no is enough. And if you have the awareness that the person that you're, or what you're working for, people that you work for or people that work for you, if you would like to not use the word no, simply say, that doesn't work for me at this time, but I'll take a rain check. I have a previous commitment. That's it. Because I was the kind of person that would say, my tooth is bothering me. I need to get a root canal. I don't know if I want to get the root canal. And I would go on, and it's not necessary. Number one, it takes up too much energy. Very important energy that you need for yourself. And number two, quite frankly, they probably don't want to know. Not because they're mean or they're rude, but because they have their own lives too. It's that simple. So setting boundaries is really important. Now, if you set a boundary and the people in your life constantly violate that boundary that you have very clearly set, it stands to reason that you can set consequences to the creation of that boundary. The consequence might simply be not answering a text, not answering a phone call, not responding to an email, not going on to Facebook or social media, because you've already set that boundary. And the only way that others, in your auric field are going to understand that boundary is if you stick to it. Well, people say, well, I'm not like that. I don't know how to do that. Start. Get out of your own way and start. It only takes one time. And there doesn't need to be any emotion attached to it. None. And if you feel that emotion of guilt or anger or a little sadness, depression, allow that to work itself out and continue focusing and moving forward. That is how you set a boundary. So if anybody or anything crosses the boundaries that you have set, you have a right to follow through on a reasonable set of consequences that you have placed. So they get the picture that you say what you mean and you mean what you say in love. This is also a past card. So the past on the timeline continuum moves into the present. It's not something that you do and you will never have to do again, because you will always be faced with opportunities to create boundaries for yourself. Now, we often think that creating a boundary is creating a gate so that others can't get in. That's one way of looking at it. But we're not creating the boundary for them. We're creating the boundary for us. We cannot control what they do, but we can control what we do. And we can control how we respond. And we can control how we react. That's what this card means. Get grounded. Green. Communicate in love. And pay attention when you're creating the boundary. So let's pull another card. This would be, in card reading, the present moment. And perhaps that's leading up to the present moment. Acceptance. Now, acceptance is an action. Acceptance means surrendering. Surrendering to what is. Because when you push against and you push against whatever it is that's happening, you are not able to receive. You're creating resistance. I can sit here and I can say, I accept the situation. But if I do not let that go by surrendering to the situation, and it keeps popping into my mind, that creates a resistance. And that's telling the universe, well, she hasn't accepted that, so we're just going to keep on pushing, pushing, pushing. Surrendering to what is doesn't mean you accept what's going on around you, but you are surrendering to that conscious awareness moment that you can't change it. And it's a very critical time in your spiritual development. Non-acceptance or resistance creates more of the same. And so every which way you turn, there will be resistance. And so if you are feeling a feeling at that moment of sadness because you want the situation to be different, and it's not different, align yourself to surrender and acceptance. And that gives the energy in that situation the opportunity to shift. Now, I'm not going to say that it will. It might take many times of accepting and surrendering. But eventually, if that situation has not shifted, you will. Shipped. Shipped. You're on a ship. If that situation has not shifted, you will. That is the purpose of acceptance. Acceptance gives others the freedom to make changes if they choose to. Accept what you cannot change and change only what you can yourself. and leave the rest up to God. Resistance. And that resistance is what's creating the emotions of guilt, shame, abandonment, insecurity, sadness. Whoosh. Let it go. Okay, let's pull the third card and see what Spirit has to tell us today. Soul Awakening. What is a soul awakening? Many times a soul awakening occurs after an incredibly difficult situation that you're in, that you have tried everything to change, but can't. So you have had no choice to accept it. Well, you have a choice. You have a choice not to accept it. You always have a choice not to accept it. Guaranteed that you will get tired, and guaranteed that your body will get tired, and guaranteed that you will get sick because your body is tired. And all of that is pointing to the acceptance. So rather than put yourself in that place where you might end up in the hospital, accept it, surrender it. And that point, you are telling the universe, I'm ready. My soul is ready. Because thoughts that I've had and all of these ways that I've tried to fix my situation or change my situation or fix somebody else or change somebody else isn't working. Of course it's not working. Your focus is you. Your focus is you. And while your focus is you, you continue to do the things that you need to do in your day, in your life, and the energy will shift. And you'll begin to feel lighter. And the emotions that you had that were so dense and painful begin to dissolve. And your soul begins to awaken to the new person that you always were, but all that condition kept you from being. And when soul awakens, it's as if you've looked at a flower for the first time. You're a baby. You see everything different. You view everything different because you're different. But not really, because that's who you really are. You just didn't know. Because when you went to touch that little figurine on the coffee table when you were 2 years old, somebody tapped your hand. You thought it was beautiful. You didn't mean to do any harm. You thought it was beautiful. You didn't mean to do any harm, but somebody tapped your hand and you reached for it again and somebody tapped your hand. And then when you were 5 years old, you were outside playing with your siblings, you saw a kitty cat. And you thought, oh, I love that kitty cat. and I'm going to get that kitty cat. And the kitty cat stops and said, you say, kitty cat wants me, and I'm going to go pick that kitty cat up. And your focus is on that kitty cat at 5 years old. You're not thinking about you're so close to the road. And your parent, your older sibling, or your aunt or your uncle runs out and grabs you and says, I told you not to go by the road. And you're thinking to yourself, but I just wanted to see the kitty cat. You weren't doing anything wrong. And so you were brought into the house and you were sat down on the couch and you were given a book and you were told you had to sit there, couldn't go outside and play with everybody else. You were conditioned. And I'm here to tell you that your soul knows the difference between what is acceptable and what is not acceptable before it came in. And like a newborn baby or a toddler or a preschooler, you are in awe of everything once your soul awakens. So it's a matter of stripping all of those conditions. Your soul isn't going to allow you to violate something that's unacceptable. It's just not going to do it. It's just not going to do it. Because God said that is good. And you said this is good. Once all that conditioning strips away to the raw, unadulterated you, you are viewing every experience with new eyes. And when you do that, that's when things begin to change for you. We as human beings put terms and languages on things to communicate. When you pay attention, there are no words. It comes into your mind, into your soul, your heart, the way you can understand it. And through that, you will use those words to explain to others that they can be there too. That's what a soul awakens. When the soul awakens, there is a passion to remember why we were born. We ask ourselves questions such as, why am I here? What is my purpose? Who am I? Who am I really? An awakening does not mean we have to walk away from our personal life. It simply means grateful awareness. Everything gets grateful awareness. And you have those days that you have something planned and the weatherman said it's supposed to be beautiful, it's supposed to be sunny. And all of a sudden the weather, Mother Nature says, we're going to downpour today. And you've already got something planned outside. What would your higher self tell you to do? That's okay. We have options. We were going to go to a picnic, but we'll just have somebody come over to the house. That's okay. We can make this another day. That's okay. I have food that can be refrigerated. It'll still be in a couple of days. That's okay. The rain is good. That's okay. I'm going to listen to the rain. That's okay. I have a book to read. That's okay because I'm okay. And my soul is awake to the fact that all is well and all is good. And I am grateful for the experience. It's that simple. So I'm going to breathe you that message for today with the cards. And I'm going to ask Elijah, one of my guides, to give me a special message for all of you today. Those that need to hear this will hear it. I have no worries about that. So I'm going to verbalize and ask Elijah to come in to my consciousness to give you a message. So it begins, this time of conscious awareness for the planet as a whole. And on this planet as a whole are individuals. And individuals are waking up, becoming conscious, engaging with their subconscious into their conscious, flowing in and out at will. And they are seeing that it is all beginning to transpire. They're getting out of their own way. And life wants you all to know that when you get out of your own way, when you get out of your physical body and all of your limitations, and you surrender to what is, you will see beyond the here and now. Because beyond the here and now is also the here and now at a much higher, much deeper, much soulful level. And you are being given a staff for your journey. And that staff is to hold you up. That staff is to point forward and move the brush out of the way as you get out of the way. And while you're on this journey and you're telling Elijah, you're telling yourself, that you are grateful, that you're thankful for this experience, and you are allowing it to happen. The brush will part. And you can put your staff down and you can lean on that staff. And you can know beyond a shadow of doubt that you are going to get where you need to be. There needs not be any worry about that. The worry creates resistance. You will have enough money to get to where you need to go because the lack of money creates resistance. And you are grateful for the money you have today. Because you know that that money came to you, so it stands to reason. Because you allowed it to come the first time, it's going to come the next time. And saying, I don't have enough money, is creating resistance. So you know you have enough money. You just haven't held it in your hands yet. It's there. You know those bushes are there. You know that shrubbery is there. You know you have to part it to stay on that path. So you do it and you keep your focus. And you say to yourself, this is really good. This is good because I've never felt this way before. And I really enjoy this journey. It gives me joy. It gives me joy to not worry. It gives me joy to not stress. It gives me joy to allow joy to not interfere with that which is coming to me. Feel the joy. Feel the joy in the grateful and thankful awareness of this present moment. Find it, pinpoint it, feel it, allow it to consume your consciousness. If it's a brief, if it's a butterfly, look at the butterfly. Look at everything about the butterfly. Look at how the butterfly's wings are just slow motion moving while it rests on the plant. Look at how the butterfly's wings are just slow motion moving while it rests on the plant. Look at the markings on the butterfly. What color is the butterfly? Does the butterfly have antennae? Does the butterfly have legs? What flower is the butterfly on? What is the butterfly doing on the flower? Soak in if it gives you joy and remember it. When you are moving into that spot where there is no joy, you recall it and be in that joyful mode. Because that is the higher vibration that you need to focus to continue on your journey with your staff and lean on it. And you will get there. You will. Thank you, Infinite Spirit, good, for today, for all of the people that are watching. You are all so very much loved, more than you can comprehend. You are loved. Even if you don't feel it, it's there. You are loved. Remember that. Be well, be blessed. Until next time, bye-bye.